The Rigveda, hymn 9.27, Sama Pavamana, 6 verses. This sage, exalted by our lauds, flows to the purifying cloth, scattering foes as he is cleansed, as giving power and winning light for Indra and for Vayu he is poured upon the filtering cloth. The men conduct him, Soma, steer, omniscient, and the head of heaven, effused into the vats of wood. Longing for kine, longing for gold, hath Indu Pavamana load. Still conqueror, never overcome, this Pavamana, gladdening draught, drops on the filtering cloth, and then mounts up with Surya to the sky. To Indra in the firmament, this mighty tawny steer hath flowed, this Indu being purified. And let us regard how things are stored. Hymn 928, Soma Pavamana, 6 verses. Urged by the men, this vigorous steed, Lord of the mind, omniscient, runs to the woolen straining cloth. Within the filter hath he flowed, this Soma for the gods effused, entering all their essences. He shines in beauty there, this god immortal, in his dwelling place. Foe slayer, dearest to the gods, directed by the sisters 10, bellowing on his way, this steer runs onward to the wooden vats. This Pavamana, swift and strong, omniscient, gave splendor to the sun and all his forms of light. And this Soma, being purified, flows, mighty and infallible, slayer of sinners, dear to gods. Of course, by gods, we mean the light beings. And hymn 929, Soma Pavamana, 6 verses as well. Are all these hymns in this program going to be 6? No, they're not. But let us remember our experience may be driven by our consciousness, even something as simple or complex as light. 927, 6 verses. Forward with mighty force have flowed the currents of this steer effused, of him who sets him by the gods. The singers praise him with their song, and learned priests adorn the steed, brought forth as light that merits laud. These things that winnest lightly while purified, Soma, Lord of wealth, fill full the sea that claims our praise. Winning all precious things at once, flow on, O Soma, with thy stream. Drive to one place our enemies, preserve us from the godless, from ill-omened voice of one and all, that so we may be freed from blame. O Indu, as thou flowest on, bring us the wealth of earth and heaven, and splendid vigor in thy stream. And think if people nowadays took their getting into their vehicles as such a priestly act. Hymn 930, Soma Pavamana, 6 verses. Streams of this potent one have flowed easily to the straining cloth. While he is cleansed, he lifts his voice. Indu by pressers urged to speed, bellowing out while beautified, sends forth a very mighty sound. Pour on us, Soma, with thy stream, man-conquering might, which may crave, accompanied with hero sons. Hither hath Pavamana flowed, Soma flowed hither in a stream, to settle in the vats of wood, to waters with the stones they drink thee, tawny-hued, most rich in sweets. O Indu, to be Indra's drink, for Indra, for the thunderer, press the Soma, very rich in sweets, lovely, inspiriting for strength. And we think of that whole filter thing as a metaphor, right? what we're supposed to take in, what we're supposed to be, or whatever is there, but we have to filter out what we shouldn't. Hymn 931, Soma Papamana, 6 verses. The Soma drops benevolent come forth as they are purified, bestowing wealth which all may see. O Indu, high o'er heaven and earth be thou, increaser of our might, the master of all strength be thou. The winds are gracious in their love to thee, the rivers flow to thee. Soma, they multiply thy power. Soma, wax great. From every side may vigorous powers unite in thee. Be in the gathering place of strength. For thee, brown-hued, the kine have poured imperishable oil and milk. Aloft on the sublimest height, friendship, O Indu, we desire with thee, who bearest noble arms, with thee, O Lord of all that is. And when we raise our consciousness, as people like to call it, it enables us to see above these mere material conditions and perhaps turn our desires towards practicing the presence of God. Hymn 932, Soma Papamana, 6 verses. The rapture-shedding Soma drops, effused in our assembly, have flowed forth to glorify our Prince. Then Trita's maidens onward urge, the tawny-colored with the stones, Indu for Indra, for his drink. Now, like a swan, he maketh all the company sing, each his hymn. He like a steed is bathed in milk, O Soma, viewing heaven and earth. Thou runnest like a darting deer. Set in the place of sacrifice, the cows have sung with joy to him, even as a woman to her love. He came as to a settled race. Bestow illustrious fame on us, both on our liberal lords and me, glory, intelligence, and wealth. And one thing that we find is the animals have their form of worship. It's only the humans, as far as the incarnate critters, that can choose not to. Hymn 933, Soma Pavamana, 6 verses. Like waves of waters, skilled in song, the juices of the Soma speed. Onward as buffaloes to woods, with stream of sacrifice, the brown bright drops have flowed with strength and store of kine into the wooden vats, to Indra, Vayu, Varuna, to Vishnu, and the Marutas flow. The drops of Soma juice effuse. 3 several words are uttered. Kine are owing cows who give their milk. The tawny-hued goes bellowing on. The young and sacred mothers of the holy rite have uttered praise. They decorate the child of heaven from every side, O Soma, for our profit. Pour thou forth 4 seas filled full of riches thousandfold. Now, some people will say, well, okay, the women assisting the ritual, but others will say the thought form developed from the ritual, and yet others will say the light beings that respond to the ritual. Hymn 934, Soma Pavamana, 6 verses. The drop of Soma juice effused flows onward with this stream impelled, rending strong places with its might. Poured forth to Indra, Varuna, to Vayu, and the Marut hosts, to Vishnu flows the Soma juice. With stones they press the Soma forth, the strong conducted by the strong, they milk the liquor out with skill. 'Tis he whom Trita must refine, 'tis he who shall make Indra glad. The tawny one is decked with tints, him do the sons of Prishna milk. The dwelling place of sacrifice, oblation lovely and most dear, to him in one united stream these songs flow on straightforward. He, loud-voiced, hath made the milch kine low. And it's important to not be too shy to be heard. I mean, raise your voice to be necessary to be heard, but not just to be loud, right? Hymn 9:35, Soma Pavamana, 6 verses. Pour forth on us abundant wealth, O Pavamana, with thy stream, wherewith thou mayest find us light. O Indu, swayer of the sea, shaker of all things, flow thou on, bearer of wealth to us with might. With thee for hero, valiant one, may we subdue our enemies. Let what is precious flow to us, Indu arouses strength with the sage, who strives for victory, winning power, discovering holy works and means. Mover of speech, we robe him with our songs as he is purified. Soma, the guardian of the folk, on whose way, Lord of holy law, most rich as he is purified, the people all have set their hearts. And the mystic will find stuff to do, stuff to learn that's not required. Hymn 9:36, Soma Pavamana, 6 verses. Forth from the mortar is the juice sent, like a car horse to the sieve. The steed steps forward to the goal. The Soma, watchful, bearing well, cheering the gods, flow past the sieve, turn to the vat that draughts with meat. Excellent Pavamana, make the light shine brightly out for us. Speed us to mental power and skill. He, beautified by pious men and coming from their hands adorned, flows through the fleecy straining cloth. May Soma pour all treasures of the heavens, the earth, the firmament upon the liberal worshipper. Thou mountest to the heights of heaven, O Soma, seeking steeds and kine, and seeking heroes, Lord of strife. And one may also realize that, especially when something's for the community, that, you don't do things all on one's own. You try to get as many people involved as possible. Sometimes, the right people involved, too. Hymn 9:37, Soma Pavamana, 6 verses. Soma, the steer, it fused for draught, flows to the purifying sieve, slaying the fiends, loving the gods, far-sighted, tawny-colored, he flows to the sieve intelligent. Bellowing to his place of rest, this vigorous Pavamana runs forth to the luminous realm of heaven, fiend-slayer through the fleecy sieve. This Pavamana, up above Trita's high ridge, hath made the sun, together with his sisters shine. This victor-slaying steer, effused Soma, rune-giver, ne'er deceived, hath gone as 'twere to win the spoil. Urged onward by the sage, the god speeds forward to the casks of wood, Indu to Indra willingly. And it's important to distinguish between who is on your side and who isn't on your side. But that doesn't mean that if you can't figure out how they're on your side, you have to go fight them or something. Some of the steer reviews for draw flows to the purifying seas, like the fiends loving the gods, far-sighted, tawny-colored, he flows to the sea, intelligent, belonging to his place of rest. His vigorous Pavamana runs forth to this realm of heaven, fiend-slayer through the galaxy slave. Pavamana up upon Trita's high ridge hath made the sun, together with his sister shine. This victor-slaying steer refused them. Hath gone as 'twere to win the spoil, urged on by the sage, the god speeds forward to the cask of wood, Indu to Indra willingly. Hymn 9:38, Soma Pavamana, 6 verses. This steer, this chariot, rushes through the woolen filter as he goes to war that wins 1,000 spoils. The dames of Trita with stones onward impel this tawny one, Indu to Indra for his strength. 10 active fingers carefully adorn him here. They make him bright and beauteous for the gladdening draught. He, like a falcon, settles down amid the families of men, speeding like lover to his love. This young exhilarating juice looks downward from its place in heaven. This Soma drop that pierced the sieve, poured for the draught. This tawny juice flows forth, intelligent, crying out unto the well-beloved place. Now, number 10 could be symbolic, but it could also be a way of limiting the dose. to have one dip one's hands in it rather than carry some out. Hymn 939, Soma Pavamana, 6 verses. Flow on, O thou of lovely thought, flow swift in thy beloved form, saying, I go where dwell the gods, preparing what is unprepared and bringing store of food to man. Make thou the rain descended from heaven, with might bestowing power, the juice enters the purifying sieve, far seeing, sending forth its light. This is it, which in rapid course hath with the river's wave flowed down from heaven upon the straining cloth, inviting him from far away and even from near at hand the juice. For Indra is poured forth as meath. In union they have sung the hymn. With stones they urged the tawny one, sit in the place of sacrifice. Let us have patience for what is to come. Hymn 940, Soma Pavamana, 6 verses. The very active hath assailed, all purified, all enemies. They deck the sage with holy songs, the red hath mounted to his place. To India goes the mighty juice. He settles in his firm abode. O Indu, Soma, send us now great opulence from every side. Pour on us treasures thousandfold. O Soma Pavamana, bring Indu all splendors hitherward. Find for us food in boundless store. As thou art cleansed, bring hero strength and riches to thy worshipper, and prosper thou the singer's hymns. O Indu, Soma, being cleansed, bring hither riches doubly piled. Wealth mighty Indu, meet for lauds. Some lands have certain benefits that other lands don't have. But of course we find, like with the plants and animals and stuff, that, it's really what's best for the area. Hymn 941, Soma Pavamana, 6 verses. Active and bright have they come forth, impetuous in speed like bulls, driving the black skin far away, quelling the rightless Dasu. May we think upon the bridge of bliss, leaving the bridge of woe behind. The mighty Pavamana's roar is heard as toward the rush of rain, lightnings are flashing to the sky. Pour out on us abundant food when thou art pressed, O Indu, wealth in kine and gold and steeds and spoil. Flow on thy way, most active thou, fill full the mighty heavens and earth, as dawn as Surya with his beams on every side. O Soma, flow around us with thy protecting stream as Rasa flows around the world. And we know in ancient India, the paler skinned people came from the north with horses and stuff and conquered their way down. I mean, Pakistan and all that stuff too, right? Hymn 942, Soma Pavamana, 6 verses. Engendering the sun in floods, engendering heaven's lights, green-hued, robed in the waters and the milk. According to primeval plan, this Soma, with his stream effused, flows purely on, a god for gods, for him, victorious, waxing great, the juices with 1,000 powers are purified for winning spoil. Shedding the ancient fluid, he is poured into the cleansing sieve. He, thundering, hath produced the gods. Soma, while purifying, sends hither all things to be desired. He sends the gods who strengthen law. Soma effuse, pour on us wealth and kine, in heroes, steeds, and spoil. Send us abundant store of food. And green, well, we know that marijuana was one of the things into the Soma, right? But green can also be a symbol of Venus. And for some reason people say Venus, wealth magic. It's like, no, actually that's probably more Jupiter or the sun. But Venus is called Lucifer. And it brings, it announces the sun. So, well, it doesn't announce the sun, but you know what I mean. People see Venus in the sky and, oh, the sun's coming up. Or the sun just passed or the morning and the evening star. Hymn 943, Soma Pavamana, 6 verses. We will enrobe with sacred songs the lovely one who as a steed is decked with milk for rapturous joy. All songs of ours, desiring grace, adorn him in the ancient way. Indu for Indra, for his drink, Soma flows on when purified, beloved and adorned with songs. Songs of the sage, Medatete, O Soma Pavamana, find exceeding glorious wealth for us, wealth, Indu, fraught with boundless might. Like courser racing to the prize, Indu, the lover of the gods, roars as he passes in the sieve. Flow on thy way to win us strength, to speed the sage who presses thee, Soma, bestow heroic power. And let us dedicate our consumption of any type to deity. And, well, the filtering out, well, that's that could be used for a burnt offering or other offering. Hymn 944, Soma Pavamana. Six verses. Indu to us, for this great rite, bearing as 'twere thy wave to gods, unwearied thou art flowing forth, pleased with the hymn, impelled by prayer. Soma is hurried far away, the wise one in the singer's stream, watchful among the gods. This juice advances to the cleansing sieve. Soma most active travels on, flow onward, seeking strength for us, embellishing the sacrifice. The priest with trim grass calleth thee. May Soma, ever bringing power to Banga and Vayu sage, and hero lead us to the gods. So to increase our wealth today, inspire best of furtherers, win for us strength and high renown. Don't just have the states to have the states. Direct them. Hymn 945, Soma Pavamana, 6 verses. Flow thou who viewest men to give delight, to entertain the gods, Indu to Indra for his drink. Stream to thine embassy for us. Thou hastenest for Indra, too. The gods, O better than our friends. We balm thee, red of hue, with milk to fit thee for the rapturous joy. Unbar for us the doors of wealth. He through the sieve hath passed, as comes a courser to the pole to run. Indu belongs unto the gods. All friends have lauded him as he sports in the wood. Beyond the fleece, singers have chanted Indu's praise. Flow, Indu, with that stream wherein steep thou announcest the man who worships thee, heroic strength. Now, let us continue our acts of worship and our use of scripture beyond rituals. Hymn 946, Soma Pavamana, 6 verses. Like able coursers, they have been sent forth to be the feasts of gods. Joying in mountains flowing on, to Vayu flow the Soma streams, the drops of juice made beautiful. Like a bride dowered by her sire, pressed in the mortar, these, the drops of juice, the Somas rich in food, give strength to Indra with their work. Deft-handed men run hither, seize the brilliant juices, blent with meal, and cook with milk the gladdening draught. Thus, Soma, conqueror of wealth, flow finding furtherance for us, giver of ample opulence. This Pavamana, meet to be adorned, the fingers 10 adorn, the draught that shall make Indra glad. And as we please ourselves, let's do it in a way to please deity. Hymn 947, Soma Pavamana, 5 verses. Great as he was, Soma hath gained strength by this high solemnity. Joyous, he riseth like a bull, his task is done, his crushings of the Dasyus are made manifest. He sternly reckoneth their debts. Soon as his song of praise is born, the Soma Indra's juice becomes 1,000 winning thunderbolt. Seer and sustainer, he himself desireth riches for the sage. When he embellisheth his songs, Fain would they both win riches as in races of the steeds in war. Thou art upon the conqueror's side. Well, might makes right is not as simply true as that, though. Because, see, we're talking praise and all that other stuff with it, too. Hymn 948, Soma Pavamana, 5 verses. With sacrifice we seek to thee, kind cherisher of manly might, in the mansions of the lofty heavens, gladdening crusher of the bold, ruling with very mighty sway, destroyer of 100 forts, hence sapient one, the falcon, strong of wing, unwearied, brought thee down, lord over riches, from the sky, that each may see the light the bird brought us, the guard of law, the friend of all, the speeder through the air, and now sent forth it hath attained to mighty power and majesty, most active, ready to assist. And various things are ready to respond if we so choose. Hymn 949, Soma Pavamana, 5 verses. Pour down the rain upon us, pour a wave of waters from the sky, and plenteous store of wholesome food flow onward with that stream of thine, whereby the cows have come to us, the kind of strangers to our home. Chief friend of gods and sacred rites, pour on us fatness with thy stream. Pour down on us a flood of rain, to give us vigor with thy stream. Run through the fleecy straining cloth, for verily the gods will bear. Onward hath Pavamana flowed, and beaten off the Rakshasas, flashing out splendor as of old. Sometimes the repelling of what you want to repel is a difficult thing. But, you got to do it. Hymn 950, Soma Pavamana, 5 verses. Loud as a river's roaring wave, thy powers have lifted up themselves. Urge on thine arrows' sharpened point. At thine effusion, upward rise 3 voices full of joy. When thou flowest upon the fleecy ridge, on to the fleece they urge with stone. The tawny, well-beloved one, even Pavamana dropping meath, flow with thy current to the sea. O sage most powerful to cheer, to seat thee in the place of song. Flow most exhilarating, flow anointed with the milk for balm. Indu for Indra for his drink. And we think of currents as in things that aren't isolated. So that has a series of lessons to it, right? Because people talk like, oh, I'm pathless. No, you're part of a current. Hymn 951, Soma Pavamana, 5 verses. Varyu on the filter, pour the Soma juice expressed with stones, and make it pure for Indra's drink. Pour out for Indra, thunder-armed, the milk of heaven, the Soma's juice. Most excellent, most rich in sweets, these gods and all the Marut host. Indu enjoy this juice of thine, this Pavamana's flowing beath. For Soma thou hast been effused, strengthening for the wild carouse. O steer the singer for our help. Flow with thy stream, far-sighted one, effused into the cleansing sieve. Flow on to give us strength and fame. And it's important that we don't obstruct certain things in life. Hymn 952, Soma Pavamana, 5 verses. Wealth winner, dwelling in the sky, bring us vigor with the juice. Flow to the filter when effused. So in thine ancient ways may he, beloved, with 1,000 streams run o'er the fleecy straining cloth. Him who is like a cauldron shake. O Indu, shake thy gift to us, shake it, well-armed warrior, with thine arms. Indu, invoked with many a prayer, bring down the vigor of these men. Of him who threatens us with war, Indu, wealth giver, with thine help, pour out for us 100, yea, 1,000 of thy pure, bright streams. And wealth implies more than what is needed. And, if people can't provide for themselves, sure, give them what they need. But no one should expect to live in luxury. without effort. Hymn 9.53, Soma Pavamana. 4 verses. O thou with stones for arms, thy powers crushing the fiends have raised themselves. Chase thou the foes who compass us. Thou conquerest thus with might when car meets car, and when prize is staked. With fearless heart will I sing praise. No one with evil thoughts assails this Pavamana's holy laws. Crush him who fain would fight with thee. For Indra to the streams they drive tawny rapture, dropping steed, Indu, the bringer of delight. And sometimes we have to take that worldly risk. But it's the best either way.